Welcome to the Caves of Nimbin Dum, Part 5 of the Mirkwood Paths campaign, and the second quest in the Dark of Mirkwood scenario pack. I am continuing playing my campaign using only the Dwarfs of Durin and the Elves of Lorien starter decks with no added cards from the sideboard. And each deck starts with a +1 threat penalty because I lost a hero in the Escape from Dumbledore. And each player adds 1 copy of No Time to Waste boon to their hand after drawing their starting hand, including taking a mulligan. Add each copy of No Time to Waste in a player's hand to the campaign pool. Shuffle the shiny distraction burden card into the counter deck and add it to the campaign pool. Here's the No Time to Waste and the shiny distraction. I also have to shuffle in the lingering venom burden that I earned back in the passage through Mirkwood. And here's the Dwarf starter deck. We got Dane, Ironfoot, Ori, and he has the Valor attachment that we got in the Journey Along the Anduin. We have to attach the Cave Torch to one of our heroes. He also has the Secret Leadership attachment from the previous quest. We've got Mendor, the Objective Ally, Haldir of Lorien. He's also got the Valor attached to him. Calibor with the Favor of Lore boon. And Galadriel. So the starting threat for the Sylvan deck is 30, and the Dwarf deck is 27. Our opening hand. We'll keep this hand. We'll keep this hand as well. (1A) The Dark of Nimbin Dum. You have pursued the goblins that attacked a woodman village to the mountains of Mirkwood. The trail leads over a steep ridge where you discover the forgotten dwarf home of Nimbin Dum. You light a torch and enter here. Setup. Search the encounter deck For Goblin Chieftain, Cracked Pillar, and Cave Torch. Set Goblin Chieftain and Cracked Pillar aside out of play. The first player attaches Cave Torch to one of their heroes. Shuffle then counter deck. So here's the Goblin Chieftain and the Cracked Pillar. Now 1B. 8 quest points. The dwarves abandoned Nimbin Dum after an earthquake collapsed part of the mine, but it seems these goblins have adapted it as their home. The flickering light of your torch reveals a network of dark passages, and you set about searching for signs of the enemy. When revealed, each player searches the encounter deck for a different location and adds it to the staging area. Shuffle the encounter deck. So here's the 2 different locations that I'm choosing. Crumbling Stairs and Goblin Dungeon. We draw a card. Erebor Hammersmith. We're going to play the King Under the Mountain and put that onto Dane. Now we're going to use it and draw 2 cards and discard 1. We're going to discard Gandalf and keep the Miner of the Iron Hills. And now we're going to put the Thor's map onto Viver. Now we're going to go over to the Sylvan deck, draw a card, Greenwood Archer. We're going to spend one of Haldir's resources to put Nenya onto Galadriel. Giving her the lore icon. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. We're going to quest for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there is 6 in the staging area. First card is a Goblin Runner. Has Surge. And a Town Scavenger. Discard the top card of each player's deck until the end of the phase. Increase the Goblin Scavenger threat by the total printed cost of the cards discarded. So that's 3, actually, and this goes into play. And So 5, so 8. Oh, that's horrible. Not the way I wanted to start. And I still have another card to reveal. Obsidian Arrows. When revealed, deal 2 damage to a character you control. We're going to deal 2 damage to Bipper. Alright, we'll deal 2 damage to Haldir. So the total spread now is 9, 10, 16 in the staging area. We're going to exhaust Galadriel. And add 4. So now we're up to 14. So we increase our threat by 2. Now we're going to discard the Zora's map. It's got a travel action. Exhaust Zora's map to choose a location in the staging area. Make that location the active location. If there is another active location, return to the staging area. And we're traveling to the Goblin Dungeon, so we don't have to worry about the travel effect. And now the Dwarf deck is going to optionally engage the Goblin Runner. And then the Goblin Town Scavenger engages the Dwarf deck. Deal out shadow cards. We're going to use Haldir's ability to snipe the Goblin Runner. And now we're going to block the Goblin Town Scavenger with the Heirloom Miner. Attacking enemy gets +1 attack for each enemy engaged with you. So it's 1 enemy, so we deal 1 damage. Now we're going to attack back with Dane and deal 2 damage to the Goblin Town Scavenger. We go to the end of the round. Draw a card. We're going to put Galadriel's Handmaiden into play. And we're going to have the Sylvan deck reduce their threat by 1. Now we're going to put the Nace Guide into play. And we're going to choose Ori, now to exhaust a quest. Now we're going to go over to the Dwarf deck, draw a card. We're going to use the King Under the Mountains ability. We're going to discard the Hammersmith and keep the Dory. We're going to play We Are Not Idle and draw a card. We're going to play a Erebor Hammersmith. And it's got an ability that after you play Erebor Hammersmith for me, return the topmost attachment in any player's discard pile to his hand. So the topmost attachment is Thor's map. We're going to give Biffer a resource from Haldir, and now we're going to use that resource to put Thor's map into play on the Biffer. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. Quest 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And there is 3 in the staging area. First card is a Crumbling Ruins. When revealed, each player must exhaust a character and discard the top card of their deck if able. If the printed cost of the discarded card is equal to or higher than the remaining hit points of the exhausted character, discard the exhausted character. We're going to exhaust the Nace Guide and discard the top. It's 2, so that's discarded. So that's reduced our threat by 2. Then we're going to exhaust Dane and discard the top. That's 2. So we're there. We did lose 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So we're down to 13. And now the second card is a Goblin Runner that has Surge. And then a Goblin Town Scavenger, another one. Discard the top cards, 2 and 1. So that added 3. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the staging area. So we quested successfully by 5. That's just enough to clear the Goblin Dungeon. After Goblin Dungeon leaves play as an explored location, the first player searches the top 5 cards of their deck for an ally and puts it into play under their control. Shuffle the other cards back into the deck. We're going to put a Galadriel Minstrel into play. Now we get to search the top 5 cards of our deck for an event and put it into our hand. We're going to take a Tree People. I'm going to travel to the crumbling stairs. Before that, I'm actually going to exhaust Galadriel to put 4 progress onto the main quest. Adding her 4 willpower. Now we're going to engage the dwarf deck with the Goblin Runner and the Goblin Town Scavenger is going to engage the Sylvan deck. Deal out shadow cards. We're going to block Goblin Town Scavenger with the Galadriel's Handmaiden, who has 2 defense. If this attack destroys the character, it doesn't. So no damage. Now we're going to take this undefended and no shadow, so we have to put 3 damage. We're going to put the 3 damage onto Dane, and now we're going to take the other one undefended. No shadow. So we're going to put 1 damage, and we're going to put that damage onto Ori. Now we attack back. We're going to attack and destroy the Goblin Runner. And then we're going to attack with the Galadriel Minstrel, who's got 1 attack and deal 1 damage to the Goblin Town Scavenger, and then Ori is going to attack and destroy the Goblin Town Scavenger, and he deals 1 damage because of Valor. Now we go to the next round. cram. We're going to use the King Under the Mountains ability. We're going to discard the King Under the Mountain and keep Legacy of Durin. We're going to put Cram onto Haldir. We're going to put the Legacy of Durin onto Biffer. Now we're going to go over to the Sylvan deck, draw a card. We're going to put the Hennemarth River Song into play. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. There's no threat in the staging area. And we're going to quest for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. First card is Goblin Tunnels. And the second card is the Great Cave Troll. So that added 5 to the staging area, so we quested successfully by 9. That clears the crumbling stairs and puts 6 progress onto the main quest, making us go to the next stage. But when Crumbling Stair leaves play as an explored location, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If the discarded card is in a location, put it in play as the active location. It is a location. The Goblin Tunnels. A surprise attack. As you search the Caves of Nimbin Dum, you are ambushed by goblins. When revealed, add Goblin Chieftain to the staging area. Each player searches the encounter deck and discard file for a different enemy of their choice and adds it to the staging area. Shuffle the encounter deck. Here's the Goblin Chieftain. He's an XXX, 40 engagement cost, 8 hit points, and X is the stage number of the quest. So at the moment the stage number is 2. We're going to add 1, it's going to be the Goblin Sniper. The other one is the Goblin Town Scavenger. 2B. 0 quest points. The goblins are led by a large chieftain who whips them into a frenzy. His soldiers attack you with reckless savagery, and you struggle to gain the upper hand. During the encounter phase, treat each enemy's engagement cost as if it were 0. This stage gets plus 4 quest points for each enemy in play. And the chieftain has an ability that can't take damage, can't have attachments, and after Goblin Chieftain attacks, either remove X progress from the quest or return to the staging area. So the Great Cave Troll is going to engage the Dwarf deck. Goblin Town Scavengers engaging the Sylvan deck. So the Chieftain's going to engage the Dwarf deck. And then the Goblin Sniper engages the Sylvan deck because its threat is considered 0 and we're not optionally engaging it. So let's see what we can do with all these attacks. Deal out shadow cards. Doesn't matter which order I put them in because they're all the it's just treat them as 0. Okay, we're going to block the Goblin Chieftain with Dane. Attacking enemy gets +2, so he's attacking for 4, so it does 1 damage. Now we're going to play Feigned Voices and return the Gladrim. And now we're going to block the Goblin Sniper with Calibor. No shadow, no damage. We're going to block the Goblin Scavenger with the Hennemarth River Song. No shadow, no damage because of Calibor's response, giving the Hennemarth River Song +1 defense. Now we're going to take this other one undefended. No shadow. You take 1 damage. Now we're going to put that on to Haldir. And to take 10 to destroy the Great Cave Troll. And also, Mendor should have readied up and we should have drawn a card. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to attack with 1, 2, 3 because of the Valor. That does 1 damage to him. And then we're going to, so that's a total of 4, 5, so does 2 damage to him plus an additional 1 for the Valor. So 3 damage. And now we're going to return the Galadriel's Handmaiden to our hand using the Tree People. So we get to search the top 5 cards of our deck for a Sylvan ally and put it into play. Complete whiff. We are going to use Cram to ready up Haldir and attack and destroy the Goblin Sniper. Now we go to the next round. Draw a card, test a will. And this Goblin Chieftain returns to the staging area. We're going to put the Galadriel Minstrel into play. We can search the top 5 cards of our deck for an event. I'm going to put the Feigned Voices into my hand. Now we're going to go over to the Dwarf deck. Draw a card, Source Map. We're going to use Dane's ability, the King Under the Mountain. We're going to discard the Record Keeper and keep Glowing. We're going to put Glowing into play. And we have 5 dwarves. So we're just going to put 2 resources back onto Dane Ironfoot. And because of the Legacy of Durin, we'll exhaust it and draw a card. Another legacy. Then we're going to put Gandalf into play. And deal 4 damage to the Great Cave Troll and get rid of him. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. We're going to quest for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10. 14. 15. 16, 17, 18, 18, and there is 4 in the staging area. First card is a collapsed mine, and second card is Lost in the Dark. The player who controls the cave torch must choose either exhaust the cave torch or progress can't be placed on the quest until the end of the round. We're going to exhaust the cave torch, so we have to reveal this, and it's not an enemy, so that's discarded. So we added 2 to the staging area. We get up to 6. But the collapsed mine has a fact of, while collapsed mine is in the staging area, no more than 4 progress can be placed on the quest each round. So the quest is successfully by 12. That puts 7 progress onto the goblin tunnels, and then 4 progress onto the quest. Now we're going to use Galadriel's ability to have the Sylvan deck lower the threat by 1 and draw a card. And now the Goblin Chieftain is going to engage the Sylvan deck. We're also going to travel to the collapsed mine. Deal out shadow cards. We're going to block the Goblin Chieftain with Celeborn. If this attack destroys the character, it doesn't. So this is going to return to the staging area. So no damage. We're going to block the Goblin Chieftain with the Minstrel. Deal 1 damage to the defending character. The Minstrel is destroyed, and this attack now undefended. So we're going to put 1 damage onto Haldir. He should have healed 1 from the last round. Now we're going to take this one undefended. No shadow. So we're going to put 1 damage onto Haldir. Now with Haldir, we're going to attack and destroy the Goblin Town Scavenger. We go to the next round. cram. We're going to put the cram onto Haldir. We're going to use Dane's the King Under the Mountains ability. We're going to put the We Are Not Idle to our hand and discard the Heirloom Miner. And after Heirloom Miner is discarded, put him into play. And Gandalf is discarded. We're going to use the We Are Not Idle to draw a card. Healing Herbs onto Ori. I put the Erebor Hammersmith into play and return the cram to our hand. Now we're going to put the cram onto Ori. We also get a draw card because of the Legacy of Durin. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. There's a total of 4 in the staging area. Oh, we have to go over to the Sylvan deck to have them take their turn. I'm going to play a Duran's Ruins and draw 2 cards. And discard Nenya. Put Olorian onto Calivor. We're going to put the Nace Guide into play. And we're going to make it so Ori doesn't exhaust. We're going to lower our threat by 1 and draw a card with Galadriel. And now we're going to put a Greenwood Archer into play and ready up Galadriel. So now we're going to go to the questing phase. I'm going to quest for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. First card is first player attaches Watchful Eyes to one of their heroes. Counts as a condition attachment with the text limit 1 per hero. Okay, I'm going to attach it to Ori. And now, the second card is a Lingering Venom. Each player must choose. I'm not gonna choose. I'm just gonna cancel. has Surge. Now it's Eyes in the Dark. Doom 1. Each player must choose either raise your threat by 1 for each questing character you control or discard a questing character. So at the moment, we're questing successfully by 15. So that would get us through. So we're going to discard an Heirloom Miner. That brings us down to 17. And now we're going to discard the Hennemarth River Song. And that brings us down to 16. So we quest successfully by 12. So that clears the collapsed mine and puts 6 progress onto the main quest, bring us up to 10, and there's only 2 enemies in play, so the total threat is 8, so we go to the next round, the next stage. And then Mendor readies up and we each get to draw a card. 3A, the Chasm. The goblins retreat down a dark tunnel and you chase them into a large hall of many pillars. A wide chasm runs the width of the hall and the goblins race across on a large plank. Their chieftain casts the plank into the depths of the chasm and disappears, leaving you stranded on the other side. When revealed, set Goblin Chieftain aside, out of play, add Cracked Pillar to the staging area. And Cracked Pillar is a 2 threat, 2 quest points. While Cracked Pillar is in the staging area, it gains the first player may declare an attack against Cracked Pillar during the combat phase, as if it were an enemy engaged with them. Use Cracked Pillar's threat for its defense during this attack. And it's got to travel or remove 4 damage from Cracked Pillar to travel here. Now 3B, 0 quest points. As you search for a way across, you see that one tall pillar near the edge of the chasm has cracked where it meets the ceiling. If you topple the pillar, it could serve as a bridge, to bridge the gap. Forced, reveal an additional encounter card during the quest phase. Progress can't be placed on Cracked Pillar while it is in the staging area. After Cracked Pillar leaves play as an explored location, advance to stage 4A. What we're going to do here, we're going to play Thor's Map. Discard that, and the Cracked Pillar is not immune to player card effects. So we're not going to have to do the travel effect. And we're going to travel to the Cracked Pillar. Now the Goblin Town Scavenger is going to attack. And we're going to block with the Nace Guide. Deal 1 damage to the defending character. Destroys the Nace Guide. Attack is undefended. Put it onto Haldir. And now we're going to attack with Haldir and destroy the Goblin Scavenger. And go to the next round. Draw a card. Greenwood Archer. Going to use Galadriel's ability now. Yeah, Galadriel's ability to have us draw a card and reduce our threat by 1. Then we're going to put in the Greenwood Archer using Elorian to make it only cost 1 and ready Galadriel. Now we're going to put in the Henemarth River Song. Now go over to the Dwarf deck, draw a card. Then we're going to use the King Under the Mountain. We're going to put the Long-Bearded Elder into our hand and discard the Hidden Cache. And when this is discarded from the top of your deck, you can add 2 resources to a hero you control. We're going to put 2 resources onto Dane. Now we're going to exhaust the Heirloom Miner and a Erebor Hammersmith. And play a very good tail. We have to shuffle our deck and look, discard the top 5 cards. Well, the only ones we're eligible to put into play are the Miner of the Iron Hills and the Long-Bearded Elder, because the other one we already have in play. So we're going to put the Long-Bearded Elder into play and the Miner of the Iron Hills. And then that's going to get rid of this condition attachment. So I don't think it could have worked out any better. And we're going to give 1 resource from Dane over to Biffer. And then we're going to put Dory into play. And then with Legacy of Durin, we get to draw a card. That's what you call a Dwarf Swarm. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. We're going to quest for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Questing for 21, and there is 2 in the staging area. First card revealed is a Wild Wogs. Second card revealed is a Lightless Passage. And we have to reveal an additional card. because of the stage, and it's a collapsed mine. Now the counter deck is empty, and it's the quest phase. We have to shuffle it. So we added a total of 8 to the staging area, bringing us up to 10. So we quested successfully by 11. That clears out the cracked pillar. And we go to the next stage. And that readies up Mendor, and we each get to draw a card. For A, Oathkeepers. You have made it across the chasm and resume the chase. The goblins rally around their chieftain outside the dungeons where the woodman villagers are being held. You must defeat the chieftain's hefty leader if you are to fulfill your quest. When revealed, add Goblin Chieftain to the staging area. For B, 8 quest points. Well, there are at least 8 progress tokens here at this stage. Goblin Chieftain loses. The text cannot take damage. The stage can't be defeated while Goblin Chieftain is in play. When this stage is defeated, the heroes rescue the captives, fulfilling their oath, and the players win the game. So we're going to travel to the collapsed mine. And the Goblin Chieftain is going to be optionally engaged by the dwarf deck. And then the Wild Wogs engages the Sylvan deck. Deal out shadow cards. Now the Wild Wog attacks. We're going to block with the Calivore. Cancel all combat damage dealt to attacking enemy this round. And force. After Wild Wog engages you, you discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card is a goblin enemy, put it into play. So this was what the card would have been, because it was before you deal out shadow cards, and it was not a goblin. So back to attacking. Deal 1 damage to the defending character. How many times does that come up? At least what didn't destroy one. So no damage. Now this is attacking for 4. We're going to play a Feigned Voices and return Greenwood Archer to our hand and prevent the chieftain from attacking. And the chieftain now does not return to the staging area because he didn't attack. And then we're going to attack and destroy the Wild Wogs. I get a heal of 1 damage from Haldir. We go to the next round. Hopefully this will be the last one. Draw a card. We are not idle. We're going to use King Out of the Mountains ability. discarding, no time to waste. Actually, this shouldn't have been in the deck. We're gonna discard Bomber. Now we're gonna play We Are Not Idle and draw a card. Put in a Arid Nimrus Prospector. And after he enters play, I can optionally discard the top 3 cards of my deck and then shuffle one from my, and put a card from my discard pile into my deck. Well, we're going to be discarding the Hidden Cache. So that puts 2 progress. We're going to put that onto Biffer. And now for the card that I'm going to put back into my deck. Why don't we put the Heirloom Miner back into my deck? With the hopes of discarding it. But it doesn't really matter because we're not going to be needing it. And we also get a draw card. Now we're going to exhaust 2 dwarfs and play the Very Good Tale. So we shuffle these cards, and now we discard all of them. We're going to be putting 2 Erebor Record Keepers into play, and then this is discarded, so this goes into play. Here, we went through our whole deck. Now we're going to go over to the Sylvan deck, draw a card. Going to use Galadriel's ability to lower our threat by 1, and draw a card. Now we're going to play the Greenwood Archer. And ready up Galadriel. Now we're going to put another Greenwood Archer. Oh, we don't have enough resources for that. We're going to put the Galadriel Minstrel into play. And we get to search the top 5 cards of our deck for an event. Feign Voices. And we're going to put a Mirkwood Runner into play. Now we're going to go to the quest phase. We're going to quest for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And all these have the +1 willpower from attack. (20), 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. That should be enough. 31, and there is a total of 6 in the staging area. First one is a Goblin Town Scavenger. We have to discard the top card or deck. Well, one deck doesn't have cards, and one. And next card is a Lingering Venom. We're going to cancel that effect. And the Collapsed Mine. While Collapsed Mine is in the staging area, no more than 4 progress can be placed on this quest phase. So we added 4 to the staging area, but we can only put 4 onto the quest. And this Collapsed Mine is explored. So I guess we will have to go to another round. Let's travel to the Collapsed Mine. We're going to have the Goblin Town Scavenger optionally engage the Dwarf deck. Deal out shadow cards. We're going to have Haldir snipe the Goblin Town Scavenger. And now we're going to play a Feigned Voices and return a Gladrin Mistral to our hand to prevent the Goblin Chieftain from attacking. Now we go to the next round. Draw a card, Wingfoot. We're going to use Galadriel's ability to have us draw a card and lower our threat by 1. We're going to put the Minstrel into play. Look at the top 5 cards for a deck for an event. We're going to get Elrond's Consul. Now we're going to put a Greenwood Archer into play. and ready up Galadriel. Over to the dwarf deck. We're going to put a Longbeard Elder into play. And we're going to move a resource from Ori over to Bipper. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. So we're going to quest for 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. And there is a total of 6 in the staging area. First card is a Goblin Sniper. Second card is Eyes in the Dark. Doom 1. Each player must choose either raise your threat by 1 for each questing character control or discard a questing character. So we're going to discard a questing character. We're going to get rid of a Miner of the Iron Hills and a Hennemarth River Song. So that reduced our threat by 3, bringing us down to 33. And we added 2 to the staging area, so it's up to 8. So we quest successfully by 25. That clears out the collapsed mine and puts 19 onto the main quest. And now the Goblin Chieftain loses the ability that he can't take damage. And the Goblin Sniper doesn't engage us. And then we're going to play a Lore of Moria. Ready all dwarf characters in play. Goblin Chieftain is going to attack. And we're going to block with a Heirloom Miner. Deal 1 damage to the defending character. And that he's destroyed. He's attacking for 4. And then we have to remove 4 progress from the main quest to keep him from returning to the staging area. We're going to use Haldir's ability to snipe the Goblin Sniper. We're going to play 2 Elrond's Consuls and reduce our threat by 6, bringing us down to 29. And then we're going to attack the Goblin Chieftain for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And that should be enough to, he's got 4 defense and 8 hit points. So we deal 21 damage to him. That destroys him. And there's a game. We rescue the villagers. Because when this play is defeated, the heroes rescue the captives, fulfill their oaths, and the players win the game. So thanks for watching that campaign. Please like and subscribe. And now we go to the resolution. Check the final threat of the players with the highest threat. If it is under 40, you have rescued a retired ranger who shares his wisdom with you. Each player may add 1 copy of Ranger Sense to the deck and to the campaign pool. At the start of the next campaign, each player may also shuffle 1 copy of Ranger Sense into their deck and add it to the campaign pool. So the highest threat is 38. So we're able to get some Ranger Sense. And the Ranger Sense is a boon, and when playing this card, choose 1. Action. Remove Ranger Sense from the game and from the campaign pool to look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 to your hand and put the rest back in any order. And then action of draw 1 card. So that was fun. Bye.